Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I received a really great question today with regards to Polymer 80's lifetime warranty. What happens if you crack your frame? What? How are they going to honor that warranty after August 2022? Prior to August 2022, if you break your frame, right, and I don't mean if you misdrill it or if you mess it up, if you're shooting it and it cracks, and we'll talk about later, we'll get into the hows and some cases that I have heard. But if it breaks while you're shooting, all right, what Palm 80 tells you is to cut it in half, send them a picture, and what they do is they mail it to your house. Okay. In most states. In some states they can't do it, but in most states they'll mail it to your house. Now, after August 2022, they can no longer mail that frame to your house. They still have to honor their warranty because after August 2022, the 80%, as far as the ATF is concerned, it is going to be considered a firearm. Now, I understand that the ATF is not a legislative body. They cannot make laws. However, basically, if Palm 80 chooses to follow the ATF guidelines, which I think they will, okay, if they choose to follow the ATF guidelines, they won't be able to sell the frame. They won't be able to ship the frame to your house. What they will have to do is they'll have to serialize it and send it to an FFL, where now you have to go over there, do the paperwork, and basically pay a transfer fee, right? Somewhere between $30 and $50. Pay the transfer fee, and because it's going to be considered as a firearm, okay, by the FFL, right? So that's what's going to happen. Now, of course, if Polymer 80, if sales drop and Polymer 80 doesn't sell enough frames, they're basically going to go out of business. And of course, to go out of business and file for bankruptcy, your lifetime warranty is worth nothing. Okay, so they have to stay in business in order for your lifetime warranty to mean anything. But as long as they're in business, doing business under the same corporation, they have to honor that lifetime warranty. And the way that they're going to do it is they're just going to, instead of shipping it to your house, they're going to ship it to an FFL. And of course, the FFL is it's gonna be serialized. The FFL is just gonna consider it a firearm. Okay, they're not, to them, it's no different than any other firearm that they receive that they then have to do a transfer. And I've had several revolvers from Taurus, okay, that over the years I have broken. Now, with most of the semi-automatics, the serial numbers on the frame, and usually the part that breaks is not the frame itself usually. So most of the other parts, even if they have a lifetime warranty, they can ship the gun to ship the parts to my house. With the revolvers, because the serial numbers on the frame, and what happens is a lot of times when it breaks, or on several occasions when it broke, they had to replace the entire firearm. So what happened is I was able to ship them the revolver, right, with the serial number. Now they couldn't, and they replaced it. They gave me a brand new revolver, but they couldn't ship it to my house, so they shipped it to an FFL. And again, from the FFL's perspective, he doesn't know or care whether it's a new firearm that you're receiving that you just purchased, or whether it's a replacement. The FFL just does the paperwork the way they normally do. Okay, so that's how you would get your replacement frame. Okay, so now that that's aside, let's talk about first of all, let's say this. I understand that the ATF cannot legally constitutionally make law. Okay, so basically what it comes down to is the distributors, the manufacturers, Polymer 80, do they wish to follow the ATF guidelines, or do they want to take a chance that the Justice Department is going to indict them and then run them through the court system? Now, I believe that Polymer 80 is going to fight the ATF, but the way that they're going to do it is, my understanding is they're going to sue the ATF, or do it that way, rather than just disobey them or choose to ignore them and then have the government come after them. So instead of ignoring the ATF and having the ATF come after them, what they're going to do is they're going to go after the ATF in court. But in the meantime, what I think that they're going to do is they're going to follow the ATF's guidelines. So after August 2022, they're not going to be shipping Polymer 80 frames to your house, whether it's new purchases or replacements, until they get a court to agree with them. They're going to serialize them and ship them to an FFL. Okay, so now that said, do Polymer 80 frames break? I mean, I have several. I actually have 3 G17 Polymer 80 G17s that all have over 10,000 rounds on them. Right, you can see the ammunition on the ground over here. So the G17s that have high round counts for me have no problem. The ones that I have heard, I have not personally experienced this, but I have heard that do occasionally crack, not all the time, but occasionally, are the 40 calibers, because the 40 cals go in a 9mm frame, and that's basically they're following Glock's pattern, right? Because the Polymer 80s are Glock clones, and Glock had this problem rather with their Gen 1 frame. So the Gen 1 Glock 22s that were built on basically on the same frame as their Glock, the G17. With the Gen 1s, they did have some issues with the frames breaking. Okay, I believe that they upgraded it since, after that in the Gen 2s and so on. But the point is that even with the factory frames, from the factory Glock frames, which are designed to run on a 9mm, they can have problems with hot 40 cals. Okay, so the Polymer 80s, if you're going to build a 40 cal, that's going to go into a 9mm frame. Those are the ones that I have heard of cracking. Okay, not all of them. I have heard of plenty of stories where people have built 40 cals and they work fine, but I have heard of a few other stories. I have seen people post in the different P80 groups where they built 40 cals and they cracked, and that's how I know that they were told to cut them in half, send Polymer 80 a picture so that they could replace it under warranty. Okay? Now that warranty, that lifetime warranty, doesn't include if you misdrill the holes or if you screw up the gun. That's strictly for if the gun breaks under recoil while you're shooting it. Okay. So those are the only ones that I have heard of cracking. The 40 cals that that are built on a 9mm frame. Now the 45, which I have recently built, the 45 and the 10mm, they don't go in the 9mm frame, right? They go on a much larger frame. Okay, they go on the PF45. So I have not heard of any problems with the 45 ACPs or the 10mm cracking. The only ones I have heard of cracking, right, and there might be some cases to the contrary out there, but the only ones that I have heard of are the 40 cals, specifically because they go into the 9mm frame. So there's some information for you guys. So that's how I think that's going to work out. If Polymer 80 remains in business, because obviously if they go out of business, you're not getting nothing, right? Then basically you would have to make a claim to the bankruptcy court, right? That's handling that's handling the bankruptcy. But if and there is a chance that they could go out of business if the ATF gets their way. In fact, I think that's their goal, to put not just Polymer 80, but lots of gun companies out of business. That's the goal of the anti-gunners, to drive the gun industry out of business. So I mean that's just what the goal is. They're trying to sue them out of existence, sue the gun industry out of existence. That's how that would work. If I lost my train of thought, but if Polymer 80 does not go out of business, because there's a possibility from the reduced sales after August 2022, because I don't know how many people are going to want to buy a serialized polymer 80 frame and have to go through a background check. I've been buying, like I've been stacking up polymer 80 frames now that are not serialized, specifically because I never want to have to buy another serialized pistol again, okay? Um, so if they do go out of business, you're not going to be able, obviously you're not going to get anything, all right? If they do stay in business, that's how I think they would honor their warranty. So drop some comments below. Let me know what you guys think. If you're not a member of the channel, so subscribe. Follow me on Odyssey, which is an uncensored platform. Odyssey spelled ODYSEE.com. And my channel name over there is Pocono Tactical. I'll talk to you all soon.